All right, go ahead.
Hi, Hillary. I'm the inspector, and what I was going to do is just review some photos of the. Some of these photos, I should say, will be of deficiencies, and then others will be of things that you should know as a homeowner. And this, by the way, is I don't do this very often where my buyer isn't here, so I might stumble a little bit. But keep in mind, as far as homes go, and this is true for newer homes as well, we always find deficiencies, and whatever deficiencies exist, they can be repaired. So with that, we'll just start with the first photo. By the way, there are 68 pictures to go through, and the first picture is just of your gas meter. It's on the side of the house, and the picture, again, there are no deficiencies here, just shows you where your gas shutoff valves are. And by the way, when you get the report tomorrow, you'll get it sometime tomorrow. Within the photos, there'll be descriptions of what the deficiency is, and or in this case, I'll have little arrows pointing to your gas shutoff valves. So the second picture is of deficiencies with the chimney. There are it lacks mortar, or the mortar is deteriorated in areas. It also doesn't have rain caps, and so I'm going to recommend that you have a licensed mason come out and evaluate and repair as needed. This photo is just of settlement and or trip hazards at the sidewalk. You also have settlement at the walkway from the sidewalk to your house. I did not picture that, or take a picture of that. This picture of your steps, uneven rise, but you can see also that they've made repairs in the past. You know, many times stoops and or steps will settle out at a different rate, and it looks like that's all that's happened here. And then this is a picture of your water meter. It's kind of hard to see, but this is where beneath this steel cap and concrete surround is the water meter, and it happens to be covered with dirt, but the meter's here, and there's a street shutoff valve here. You know, you could take a little shovel and scoop all the dirt away. There's also a secondary shutoff in the basement that I've got a picture of coming up. Second picture, or this photo, is of where your front stoop meets the side of the house. There is, by the way, this is an asbestos shingle over an existing, or the original wood, and there is some rotted wood behind here that I really don't know what's going on beyond there, other than this area is exposed to water. It's on the south side of the house, and so there's some moisture damage there. I don't know what to tell you, other than ideally it would be sealed up, and you would prevent water from going there any further. And here's a shot of it to give you a perspective from a little bit further away. And then this picture is of your electrical service to the house. This is not the original service, but it's a pretty old service. It's not deficient, but if they did that today, you would have a mast. By the way, you have a 100 amp service coming to the house, and standard today is 200. I'm not suggesting that you need 200 amps, but someday you may consider upgrading. The good thing is too that one good thing is you do have a new electric panel in the basement, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The next picture is you've got old hose bibs. They don't have, and this one happens to be on whatever side of the house that is, east maybe? No, west.
West side.
So west side, I turned the water on, had a hard time turning it off. These are original hose bibs, or this is an original hose bib, and they do have new ones that have anti-siphon, and they're called frost-free, where you don't have to worry about them freezing in the wintertime. So you don't have to replace them, but for about $30 each in materials, and then buying somebody's time, they could be swapped out or upgraded. This picture just shows you, and you've got a couple downspouts that are dumping too close to the house. Whenever you dump water from your roof close to the house, you stand the chance of water getting into your basement, and there is evidence of water coming into the basement in the past. And then I remember one note on your, or one question you had on your email was about water coming in, and you wanted me to look at the foundation. The foundation, there is evidence where there's some water stains and common cracks actually. The foundation isn't a big concern of mine, but there is a picture of a crack coming up that we'll talk about. So route the water further away from the house. So one thing I don't like about the roof is the multiple layers. It looks like you have maybe 4 layers, which is too many. I noticed on the front side of the house there was actually 2 layers of wood shingles, and then I noticed 1 layer, there might be 2 asphalt comp on the front. On the back side of the roof, I noticed that there appear to be 2 layers of composition. So you know, at the end of the day, because of all the layers and because of some pictures that are going to come up, I'm going to recommend that you remove and replace all existing layers of roofing and put a new roof on it. The front doorbell does not function, kind of piddly, and then the deadbolt was installed upside down. It'd take 4 minutes to change that out. This is a picture of your dishwasher. It's not secured to the cabinet, so you'd want to make sure that's level and secure the dishwasher to the cabinet. And by the way, obviously these pictures are bouncing around, and they were just taken in the order of how I was walking through the house. When you get them on the report, they won't bounce around. There will be 1 page dedicated to the exterior, and then roofing and plumbing and so forth. This is just a picture of your original fuse panel. It's just a junction box now. It's just on the landing as you're going downstairs. It's not a deficient. I'm just took a picture of what you had. And then this is the new panel in the basement, and that's a nice new thing, or a nice positive. The water heater, a couple things there. It doesn't have seismic straps. It doesn't have a temperature pressure relief pipe, kind of piddly there. Appraisers like to see the seismic straps, and it's definitely not there. It should probably be installed before the appraiser gets here. And then one thing I noticed about the water heater, so it's old, or considered older, 2004. And it might have been installed probably in 2005, so it puts it right at 13, 14 years old, and the average life expectancy is about 12 years, they say. One thing I noticed is the water heater is cranked all the way up. So generally you want to keep your water heater turned on about 120. I think that they may have done this because of the low water flow, low hot water flow at the shower and tub. And usually that's attributed to old galvanized pipe. It starts to rust from the inside out, and it ultimately it will flow less water. So that's why I think that they have it cranked up so you can have a warmer shower. And the only fix there, you can either learn to live with it, and or what's nice about your basement is, or nice when you have a basement and it's unfinished, is you have easy access to the water supply, and it's very easy to swap out. This picture was just a close-up of the lack of TPR pipe. For $10 you can install a pipe. This is a newer PVC water supply from the street, and then this is the water shut off to the house. So if you shut that water off, or shut this valve off, it shuts the water off to the whole house. I shut the gas off to the furnace. When I arrived, the seller was here, and he had every window open in the house, and he was saying, oh yeah, it smelled bad. And I assumed that he was talking about the new furnace, like the oil is burning off of the heat exchanger. He said it's only been run for about 2 hours. But when I got into the house, and he was not here at the time when I went into the basement, I noticed that it was really a natural gas smell. So I didn't test the furnace. I immediately turned the gas off to the furnace, and it smelled like the gas leak was here. But at any rate, you really need a licensed heating contractor to check everything out, because you cannot have gas leaks. This is just the data plate for the furnace, showing that it is brand new, or very new. It was manufactured in the 11th month of 2017, and it's a high efficiency furnace, which is a very good thing. This is a picture of your furnace, and this is the air filter access right there. You pop that door down, and then there's your door or your filter. These usually last about a year. They've got a lot of surface area, and yeah, super easy to swap out. I took this picture just to show you that. Well, this was a picture. There's a foundation crack. It's with some displacement here, and the crack winds up making its way all the way over here. It turns out to be a horizontal crack along here. And you know, one thing I am not is an engineer. I point out cracks that concern me. Generally, vertical cracks are the good kind of cracks. Horizontal cracks are less than desirable. At any rate, I think the foundation at the end of the day is going to be perfectly okay, but I will not say that, because horizontal cracks, I always recommend that you have engineers check them out and give you the green light, because this has been, by the way, the foundation has been recently painted, and there was a big repair over here, a big patch within this little bump out as well. So the patch goes here, and then there's a patch over there, and the crack comes up right through here. So just get it checked out. And then I took this picture because there's a water stain near that rain drain that's dumping next to the house. So again, you need to get the water further away from the house. And by the way, so with the new paint, there's actually a dry lock or a sealant on the foundation. I should say basements get wet. These old basements weren't designed to be waterproof. It's not the end of the world when water does come in, but the big thing is you want to make sure that you manage water around the house. And managing it is, you don't let water, or don't dump water close to the house. I took this picture just to show you that there's a mix of, or most of the pipe in the house is old original galvanized, and that's why you have flow issues. And then you have some new PEX water supply pipe. And then this is one of the sewer cleanouts. There's one here and then one outside. I didn't take a picture of that one, but that's where the sewer guy sent his camera down. And then I took this picture. We're at your water supply for your laundry, but the handles are missing at the hose bibs for your washer, and also one handle is missing at the cold valve for the laundry tub. And by the way, your washing machine discharges, you're going to discharge it into the laundry tub because there's no dedicated drain for that. And then this is the sealant that I just took a picture of just to show you. Again, it's the walls are freshly painted and the floor is freshly painted. And then this happens to be this is the subfloor, this is the floor joist. We're in the basement looking up at the front door, and this, you can see daylight through this area. I would say this is kind of homeowner style workmanship. I did talk to the seller when he was here. He pretty much said that he's been working on the house for a long time. He doesn't appear to be a general contractor, but just more of a homeowner, do-it-yourselfer kind of guy. And then this is a picture from afar, just to show you the daylight coming through. Then I moved the insulation, and again, you can just see daylight coming from the outside. Ultimately, it's not a big deal, but most contractors wouldn't have done it like he did. And then I noticed I tripped going up the steps, and I tripped because this top riser is higher. It's uneven because of the flooring in there. So just keep that in mind. It's called uneven rise. And then the handrail at the steps is, this is the way they used to do it, but they like to see handrails return to the wall, they say, so clothing doesn't get snagged on the railing as you're going up and down the steps. I took this picture, so this is where the daylight is coming into the basement, is around the threshold for the front door, because that's a brand new front door. And then I took this picture. This is at the stoop, or front stoop, your front door is right there. Just exposed wood. Normally you don't want to see that. As long as water doesn't get to it, it's kind of okay. Just an imperfect, kind of forgivable old house condition. Now we're into the fireplace firebox. Somebody rubbed off some of the creosote that had built up. Generally, at this point, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have the chimney swept and cleaned and call it a day. There's not a whole lot of creosote buildup, but there is some. Then this picture, the firebox actually looks really good. That's where you're burning the fires. There is just some deterioration, which I think would normally be considered acceptable. Sometimes, well, eventually, if fireplaces are used a lot, there will be a lot of deterioration where the fires are, where the wood is burning. But here, I think you're in really good shape. You're going to have a mix of original 2-wire outlets in the house, so that's well, that's why I took that picture there. And then the range, it does not have an anti-tip bracket, so the thing will tip forward. The anti-tip bracket sits at the back of the range. That would prevent it from tipping forward, so that's an easy add. The range, or the exhaust, does not vent to the exterior, and it's called a recirculating hood. And then I took this picture just because it looks like the refrigerator used to go here, and now they want you to put it here. And then countertop outlets are GFCI protected, and ideally you wouldn't plug a refrigerator into a GFI outlet. So there are just some like imperfect things happening there. And then this is a picture, and you can call me later and we'll talk about those things. This is a picture of the drain in the floor of the basement. It's backing up. The sewer guy, he wound up discovering that there was an obstruction in the sewer line. So I think he's just going to suggest, jetting out the line. But the reason why that water backed up is because, we were running a lot of water during the inspection, and that's why water's backing up, is because of the obstruction. The dining room, this is a picture of your dining room window. It does not open. I don't know why. Maybe just paint. I usually don't take pictures of cabinets, but the seller mentioned that he broke the glass when he was refinishing the floors. And then this is your dryer vent for your dryer. Just attach it there. And then you do have smoke alarms. Everything's battery operated. I only saw one carbon monoxide detector. You're supposed to have a carbon monoxide detector on each level. I only found one. Then this picture was taken because these GFCIs are defective. They need to be changed out. And then at the rear of the house, now you've got another rain drain discharging too close to the house. So this will give you a wet basement. And then this picture, you've got some asbestos tape on some of the ductwork, and that's very common with old houses. Asbestos can be found in many building materials it was used in many building materials up until the 1970s. So, if you're buying anything that's halfway old, you'll find it in different materials. And you don't have to do anything here. Some people just spray paint it to encapsulate it, or they'll put other tape over it. But this is on the heating ducting found in the basement. And there's not a whole lot of it either. And then, I don't know how much, I don't remember what I said about the roofing material, but because of all the layers, I think I mentioned there were 2 layers of wood shingles that I found on the front. And so you're going to usually run into flashing issues where you have walls meeting roofing material, where the flashing gets buried under all the layers of roofing. And then this is an exhaust of some sort. I don't know what what they were using that for in the past. Maybe kitchen. They're not using it now, but that is relying on roofing tar to keep water from flowing between the layers. And then here's a valley that they didn't cut. And so at the end of the day, at a minimum, if your roofing material, if there are in fact 4 layers of roofing, and we already know that you have flashing issues, the best practice would be to remove and replace the roofing material. And then here's a different picture or another side of the chimney where you can clearly see the mortar's deteriorated, and again, no rain caps. So ideally, again, I'm probably repeating myself, but you have a licensed mason come out and bid for repointing it as necessary. flashing at the rake is improper. You're not supposed to put flashing over edges of roofing material. And then this is a picture, kind of hard to see, but this is trying to show you the 2 layers of asphalt, 2 layers of wood shingles. So at any rate, the roofing is certainly questionable. And then we're back to, this picture was taken of the water flow at the tub, and this is with the hot water all the way on, and it's kind of hard to see, but low water flow, again, at the tub. And then I took this picture. This is the one at the front bedroom window, and the vinyl window has, the trap mechanism has failed. It just doesn't stay up, and it's cattywampus in there, so just repair that as necessary. And then this is just a picture of one of the smoke alarms. Again, 2000, or this one, the date was cut off, but they're brand new smoke alarms. This picture was taken to show you that there's no handrail. And then if this were in a newer house, they would want you to have tempered or safety glass here, because if you were to trip down the steps, ideally, well, you're going to break the glass, or you could, and you want safety glass there. And ideally some sort of handrail. And then this picture was taken just because in the bathroom there's no mirror. On the medicine cabinet, they took the door off. You probably go to the rebuilding center and find a nice mirror that would fit that. And then this is the only attic access, and that's towards the front of the house. So my attic inspection was very limited. And then we're back to picture 1. So that was general, or those were all the photos that I had taken. And at the end of the day, I think it's a good house, but it certainly needs some more work to make it a really good house. So that's it.
Thanks, Rob.